I mean, join me.
Just so everybody knows, we went to Tokatee about a week and a half ago for pre-districts, and we really played probably the worst 18 holes of golf that any of us could possibly play, with the exception of Reese. It wasn't all that great, but Reese shot the number that I thought he would. He shot a 111, and I thought he'd shoot a 111, and as a team we ended up shooting, I think, 417, and that was our worst outing of the year. And everybody helped contribute to that worst outing of the year. Yeah, there's a lot of, there you guys, all hold your hands up there. However, we came out at districts, and first day of districts, we shot a 376. 41 strokes better than what we did at pre-districts. And then we came out the next day and we shot a 366, which gave us a 2-day total of 742. There were 8 complete teams at districts. We ended up placing 5th. And that's somewhat of a disappointment. We'd like to finish a little higher. The top 3 teams got to go to state. The top 5 individuals got to go to state. Tate didn't get to go. He came in 7th. We came in 5th as a team. However, I want to relate how that 5th as a team really stacks up against the other teams in the state. 12 teams got to go to state this year. Our 5th place finish at districts would have gotten us to state in 2 of the other districts. We actually had a better score than 5 teams that made it to state. That's how much better we were than some of the teams that actually got to go. It just shows you how competitive our district was. State was held yesterday and today, and really with no surprise, Cascade Christian came in 1st, St. Mary's came in 2nd, and Oak Ridge, who's in our district, came in 4th. So the 3 teams that we sent to state came in 1st, 2nd, 4th in state.
Ouch.
Our score from districts, had we gone to state and shot it, would have placed us 7th out of the 12 teams at state.
That's great.
So, as a group, the kids did really well this year. Here's what I kind of consider the good news. Cascade Christian loses 2 players. St. Mary's loses 2 players. Oak Ridge loses 2 players. Lakeview loses nobody. And I truly believe that if these guys go out and play golf this summer and practice and come back next spring and are serious about it, I think that we're a 3rd place team in the district. I believe that. We don't have that far to go to be in the top 3, especially with some of these other teams losing players. So I would like to think that you guys are somewhat fired up about that. I would like to think that you're somewhat disappointed about the fact that you didn't get to go. I know Tate's disappointed. But there's no reason to think that we can't be good enough to go next year. But you guys got to go out and work for it. And you can't wait until next spring to do it. You've got to be working on it this summer.
Everybody can have our phone numbers if they want videotaped.
Yeah. You guys, if somebody's got trouble getting to the golf course and you want to play golf this summer, give us a call. We'll get to the golf course. There are some, I know that I can tell you right now that Tate, Derek, and Reese are all playing men's league. Is that correct? Reese, you're playing? And I'll tell you what, Derek and Tate scared the hell out of the old men here last Thursday. Tate shot a 35, I think, and Derek shot a 37, and he had those old guys talking to themselves. So, Reese shows up and he can get out there and start shooting some scores in the 40s. We've got some ground that we can make up in a hurry over the summertime. So, we had some help this year. For those parents that don't know it, Jennifer and Dan Jackson assisted in the coaching duties, especially in the part where they taught the kids how to do some things, like hit the ball or chip the ball or cut the ball. The rules of the game.
Which challenged my abilities out there at running line.
Yes. So
I
anyway,
think they found every situation possible.
go ahead.
I didn't know how I was going to relate to a bunch of high school boys coming out here and helping. And I just want to say that you guys were just great to work with. I was really proud of you. Your attitudes, how you represented Lakeview on the course, you're fun to work with. So you guys are all good listeners, and I'm excited to work with you guys next year. If you'll show up. So, that's it.
Did you have anything you wanted to say?
Sure, I would just reiterate kind of what Brian was talking about. The encouraging thing for you guys is that, like he said, everybody's coming back. And that gives Lakeview Golf Team an advantage over other teams in the district. And I really hope that all you guys come back because I saw improvement in everybody. You know, with Tate, I couldn't really help Tate. Tate's, he was beyond my ability to be able to coach, at his level. But the rest of you guys, I hoped that Jennifer and Brian and I were able to show you some things and improve your game. And I know from my perspective, even though I wasn't at the tournaments watching you guys play, there was some improvement. So everybody come back next year.
And, sorry.
Brian was saying, play as much golf as you can this summer. If you guys are out of town, have mom and dad drop you off at the golf course. There's a lot of affordable golf courses. You don't have to have a cart. You can walk. You got young legs. If you have an opportunity to play a different golf course, I'd sure take advantage of that if you could. And there's a lot of other things you can do. We discussed the rules at length in a few practices. Get a rule book. Go online to the OGA website. Start thinking about maybe playing in some of the tournaments the OGA offers. They're relatively inexpensive, and there are some that are relatively close by in Medford and Bend.
Actually, really inexpensive for what you get.
Yeah,
Try
the
to get
OGA,
people
the junior
involved.
golf program. It's OGA and junior golf both. I know Tate, you participate in some of that stuff, but there's some good tournaments out there that would give you a lot of experience playing tournament golf. So I would encourage you to do that if you can. But at any rate, I enjoyed playing. I enjoyed helping you guys. I enjoyed meeting you. My daughter's 9, so the kids that I see generally are all her age. To walk into a high school group of kids, it was kind of fun.
Yeah.
You guys were all great. From what Jennifer said, I heard really good things about your behavior out at Running Y. You stood out as representing Lakeview really well. So I thought that was really cool. I know that Derek, he plays basketball. Now that I know some of you guys, I'm looking forward to seeing you play other sports. So it was enjoyable for me. I really liked that. So anyway.
And it took the season to kind of figure your guys' swings out and get to know you guys. So next year, we'll have a foundation to build on.
Yeah.
So I think there'll be even a quicker learning curve that way. And
Yeah, we kind of walked into it last minute. We saw the ad in the paper, we're like, oh man, I hope somebody gets the team. And then luckily Brian was able to do that, which is a good thing because he had the time to be able to, to give you guys, which Jennifer and I with all our schedules didn't. But at any rate.
Quit screwing around back there.
It's
It's the whole.
that's not good play.
It's the whole.
No one else understands.
That is the favorite saying on the trips is quit screwing around.
It's our
And we're going down the highway, and I looking in the rear view mirror, and there's one kid turning around beating the crap out of somebody sitting behind me. There's a few other things that probably came out of my mouth too, but That was out quite a bit.
So it got to the point where every time he'd say it, we'd all just echo him.
I was gonna say something else, but I lost my train of thought.
Oh gosh, guys, quit screwing around.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.
Okay, so
Jesus.
we've got some awards to hand out, and as I do this, I'm going to talk a little bit about the players and what their goals were and what they accomplished. Let's see here. The first person I'm going to talk about is Alex Decker. Where are you, Alex?
Oh, God, this
You got it.
so on.
I don't like this shit walking. We play a sport that involves lots of it, my friend.
Okay. Just go ahead and stand right there. I've got to sort out all my stuff. That's the thing. They're actually taking pictures that way, so maybe turn around and you can face the camera over here.
Yeah. Is that a
So, Alex lettered in golf. Alex also has got a Scholar Athlete Award. You get an emblem, golf emblem, because you already have a varsity letter.
Okay.
Okay. Now, whoa, just stay there. Don't go anywhere. So, I have here. We're going to talk about each one of you guys. Okay. So Alex he's difficult. Yeah. More than once I tried to tell him to do something. He finally told me, I'm going to do it my own way. Leave me alone. Now, Alex's goal at the beginning of the year, and we didn't have a baseline for him, is his goal was he wanted to shoot 120. Yeah, I wrote this down. So, one of his first practice rounds for 18 holes, he shot a 135, and then he shot a 126. So he got close in practice. But we get to the tournaments, and it burns. He shot a 134, running Y 136. Now, anybody, the rest of the good kids who golf, truly understand that the first time you play running Y, 136 is not the end of the world. Because it's a tough course. It really is. He got to go to Salmon Run, where they've got to play in a scramble type format, which I won't do that to the kids again because I'll just let them play 18 holes but it was probably a good thing for them at Salmon Run. Salmon Run's the toughest course we played all year. Correct?
Yes.
And it's at Brookings, and it's one that wasn't designed to walk. It's narrow, trees, water, and actually our kids, all of them went down a little bit there, but they played within the realm of where we thought they would, so it was okay. And about the time I give up on Alex, we turn around and in the last week of practice I send him out to play 9 holes and he comes in and he shoots a 55 for 9. And I'm sitting there saying, where has that been on here? I'm thinking that's where we're going to start next year is with the 55s and work our way down.
That's like once in a lifetime.
Oh, no. Congratulations, thank you very much. And I do want you back next year. Because we can work all My next person is Mark Lee.
Yeah, Mark. Go get it, Mark.
And so, let's see here. You also get a varsity letter. You also have a Scholar Athlete Award. You get a L, and you get golf emblem.
Nice.
Okay, now in here somewhere.
Oh.
I have notes and everything.
I don't care.
Okay.
I know.
Turn around. at the beginning of the year was to shoot 120. And his first practice round, he shot a 125, went to Burns in a tournament, shot a 112. So he surpassed his goal of 120. Running Y, he shot a 124. Salmon run, he shot a 119, which wasn't too bad. He's within the realm where we had hoped he would be. Took him to Centennial, he shot a 127, and the greens really jumped up and bit him a little bit there, I think. The greens being really fast first time there. And then we had I'll call it a situation for me as a coach. We have 8 kids out this year. Typically, you only play 5 in a tournament. And when I went to pre-districts, the Oak Ridge coach who was running districts this year says, you know that you can sub a player during districts. So you can bring 6. And I said, perfect. So I unfortunately, I didn't take Alex. And I didn't take Daniel because he wanted to ride horses or bulls or whatever it is. He wanted to do. We'll get to that here. So I took Mark and Playo, and so I let one of them play on Monday, and then I let Mark play on Tuesday, and he came out of Tokatee and shot a 121, which is just pretty close to his target. However, there is a story to this 121. There is a par 4 on this. On Tokatee that was playing 220 yards, just got water off to the left. And so I asked Mark, well, how'd you do? Well, not too good. I had a 16 on number 14. And I'm thinking, it's 220 yards to the hole, how did you have a 16? And somewhere along the line, 4 or 5 golf balls went into the water. Now, I can't even envision how this happened. I really can't. I'm sure that
You might have gotten quick.
Well, you hit the first one in the water, you get to go up there and drop her away. You should be taking water out of play. I don't know what happened. But irregardless of that, to shoot a 121 with a 16 on one hole, that should have been about a 105, 106 round for him. I mean, I think it was really a pretty good round for you. So, I am looking forward to you coming back next year because, your game, your average score for the year was 120, and I honestly believe you should be shooting in the high 90s. And that's where I want you at next year. Thank you. Our next golfer is Reese Springs. Okay, so Reese, you get a varsity letter. You get an L. And you get the emblem. And you're going to get one other thing, but before I give that to you, I want to talk about you just a little bit. Okay? Reese's goal at the beginning of the year was to be able to shoot a 108 for 18 holes. His first practice round, he shot a 133. And when he walked off the course at the end of that 133, I wasn't even sure we were going to see him the next day. And as a matter of fact, we didn't. He called in sick. And I thought, geez, I hope the hell we didn't chase him off in the second day of practice. Well, fortunately, he showed up the day after, and his first tournament at Burns, he shot a 114, which was pretty good. Then we went to running Y, and first tournament running Y, Reese goes out on his front 9, shoots a 49, doesn't get to finish his round because of darkness. They chased us off the course that night at 6, so he didn't get to record an 18-hole score. So we're sitting there looking at that 49 thinking, gee, Christmas, that's better than everybody but Tate. Well, Derek maybe shot.
No, I shot like a 54.
That's what I thought.
That's
Yeah. So I'm sitting there thinking, well, there's some hope here. So the following Monday, we go back to running Y, and he shoots a 111, and he was disappointed in his 111 because he shot that 49. He thought he was going to play a little better, but that was still not too bad of a score. Go to Salmon Run, and he shot a 126, and the problem at Salmon Run is it's just a tough course. It's just a tough course. So then I decided to take him to Centennial, where he shoots a 111. And so when we go to pre-districts, I have to put in numbers before you go, and I put in a 111. That's what I thought he would shoot, is a 111. And so he shoots that number. He doesn't know this, but he shoots that number right on the button in pre-districts. And he's the only one that came close to the number that I turned in for him. And I was impressed with that. I really was. So we go back to districts. He shoots a 103 first day, comes back out and shoots a 98 the second day. And I'm sitting there thinking, we've got a good solid number 4 golfer. And his goal of shooting a 108, he's already down to 98. That's a substantial improvement from your 133 down to 98. That's 25 strokes. That's a huge improvement in 1 year. I honestly believe that you can shoot in the 80s. You shot a 98 at Tokatee, you can shoot in the 80s. There's just no doubt in my mind. And that's where we want you next year. We want you in the mid 80s because that's going to be key to us getting to state. Congratulations. One last thing. Because of his improvement of 25 strokes, we are giving him the most improved award for this year. Okay. Next golfers, Derek, take that hat off.
No.
Here it comes, here it comes.
Okay. So here is your award. You do have a Scholar Athlete Award, and you do get one of these little bars here. So turn around here. This is my only chance to brag on you this year. So Derek's goal was to shoot an 84 this year. He also set a goal where he wanted to hit driver 270, and he had gotten a brand new hybrid, and he wanted to be able to hit that 245. Needless to say, in February I bought him a new set of irons over in Medford, and then I went back in March and bought him a new driver, and so his first round of golf this year, he shot a 103 at Centennial, which beat his previous best round at Centennial by about 6 strokes. And then in practice, he started running off 87, 88. Then we went to Burns and he shot a 93, and it could have been a little better. I think he took the driver out and decided to try to shoot for a green or something and hit it out of bounds once or twice. Maybe. I can't remember. I do believe there was an out of bounds out there somewhere. So then we go to running Y the first time, and he shoots a 104, which I kind of thought was backing up just a little bit. He didn't hit the ball real well that day. And so then the following Monday we go back to running Y, and he comes up and shoots a 90, takes 14 strokes off. And so that's, we're getting close to where I think he should be. I think he should have been a little better. What's that? Yeah, he his shot selection was a lot better, club selection was better. So then his practice rounds, he comes out, and I believe he played 18 holes with you and shot a 79 in practice, if I remember correctly. Yeah, and then he turns around and shoots another 84 in practice. And then we go to Salmon Run, and he shoots a 95, and his 95 could have been real close to Tate's 80s. I think he shot 86 or something like that.
Yeah.
Derek 3-putted every single green, and maybe 4-putted 1 or 2 of them. The greens there were slow. they were as slow, maybe even slower than Lakeview's, or as slow as Lakeview.
Dude.
They were slow. Well, he thought they were slow because he had a 30-foot birdie putt, and he still had, or a 30-foot eagle putt. And when he got done with that eagle putt, he still had a 15-foot birdie putt. And then when he got done with that putt, he had a 5-foot par putt. And I think he did make that. Bogeyed that. Oh, eagle to bogey. Yeah. So then we go to Centennial right after that. He shoots a 94, which from his 103 earlier in the year, I was fairly happy with that. He putted well, didn't always hit the ball real great. Then we went to Tokatee the first time, and he shoots a 105, and I'm sitting there trying to, I'm fairly upset with this 105 because club selection is absolutely lousy. I just felt like he had to pull driver out on every hole that he shouldn't have on 6. And yeah, it just wasn't pretty. So then we turn around and at districts he shoots a 94 and a 92, and his club selection was really, really good for those 2 rounds. He just had a little bit of bad luck. The greens at Tokatee, some of them are 2-tiered. They got 1 tier. They put the flag right on the edge, and then it dips down to another tier, and then it's off the edge. Well, I know on one of them he's trying to putt to that flag, and it goes off the edge to the green, and so he's chipping back up. I'm not even sure, he may have missed a couple of chips going back up. So the putting actually, just 2 putts is all it hurt him. It probably cost him 7 or 8 strokes. So his improvement was really pretty good. It just 1 or 2 little shots is all that kept him from getting where he wanted to be. You know, his goal was to hit his driver 270 this year, and he immediately, first day he had it, he hit it 293, and I know that he hit it well over 300 on maybe his only club selection at districts that I questioned was the 320 some yard par 4 that he thought he could drive the green on. No. That par 4 with the water. Is it 14? Where you actually hit your drive straight down there and had, 15 yards to the green and chipped on and made your putt for birdie?
Wasn't it Lake Ridge out there that I had a ball land behind me? And it might have been Derek.
Could have been.
I'm pretty sure it might have been Derek, and I think it was probably about 320.
Nope.
I think he hit it that far.
So anyway, he's one of the golfers that's going to be key to us as a team next year because he's got to be in the 70s next year for us to succeed as a team. He's got to leapfrog the 80s, and that's what we're counting on, everybody. Okay, thank you. Next is going to be Daniel Decker. Hiding back here. So, you've got a varsity letter, an emblem, because you already have your.
Wow.
Okay, so, Daniel Decker. Daniel Decker. His goal was to improve 10 strokes. Well, we have no baseline because I have no idea what he's going to shoot. And the first week we play 18 holes, he's in Mexico. Yes. So, I look at one of his first practice rounds, he shot a 111, which I was really encouraged by. Then he came out and shot a 67 in one of his practice rounds, and I thought, kind of backing up a little bit. But we go to Burns, and he shoots a 105. And I'm looking at his 105, and I'm telling myself, if I could get him to practice for 5 days a week, and if I could get him to commit to golf and not rodeo, he would have been our number 4 golfer right there. But I couldn't get him to practice 5 days a week. And some weeks it was tough to get. Some weeks it was tough to get him there for 3. So he didn't get to play in as many tournaments as I would like to have had him in, because his commitment was somewhere else part of the time.
I was just saying for the learning aspect.
I understand it. I understand it. However, you sell yourself a little bit short because you really are a good golfer. You could be a really good golfer. You really could be. Probably, maybe even a better golfer than what you are a rodeo star.
Oh, probably.
So, anyway, I thank you very much. Are you going to play next year?
Yeah, I will.
Okay.
I'll get better.
Okay. All right. Leo Brooks. Leo.
Gary.
You've got a varsity letter. You varsity did you get a varsity letter for golf last year? You didn't? You were supposed to get one last year. Because they've got you down on the books as having one for last year.
Because nobody showed up last year.
Oh yeah, somebody probably missed their awards. Hell, Frank has probably still got your letter and your award from last year. We'll work on getting it for you. But let's stop here and talk about Playo for a second. Because Playo did something.
Can you go by his real name?
Gary?
Okay, to make long story short, Playo, when he leaves home and goes to college, his name is going to become Gary. Is that not true?
Yeah, that's true.
And there's probably there's a lot of story behind it. I've listened to all these stories numerous times. He doesn't want to be called Gary until he's out of high school. However, since we all know it, he's not going to get any slack. So, Playo's goal at the beginning of the year was to play bogey golf. And Playo never got there. He struggled early on. He shot 135 at Burns, 139 at Running Wine. He played Tokatee twice, shooting 135 and 136. Now, he got himself a new set of golf clubs about 2 weeks before the end of the season, maybe? Something like that. Is that right? And he still had a few mishits. However, at Tokatee, on a hole that I would have given anything for Derek to get a 6 on, Playo, par5, gets a 6. I watched him hit a drive 200 yards straight down the fairway, hit a second shot straight. Did you chip on? You ended up chipping onto that green, and I think you 200 it. And so he's got some ability there. We, as a group of coaches here, kind of failed him a little bit this year because we struggled to try to figure out how to make his swing better, and we never really came upon an answer for that. However, getting the new clubs is going to make it easier because I think that a portion of his issue was with his old clubs that he had. The new clubs he's got, he's hitting the ball a long ways and really well. The one thing that Playo does better than most of the rest of you guys, with the exception of maybe Tate and Derek, is Playo can get up and down on the greens as well as anybody. He doesn't go out 4 or 5 putt the greens. He chips on and he'll get off the green for the most part in 2 putts. I saw him do it numerous times. So he's got a short game that's not bad. We just need to work on your long game. You're gonna play golf this summer? Yeah. You better, because if you're not out there, we're gonna come and get you. Because we're gonna make you a better golfer. Thank you.
He's a hard worker too.
Okay, next golfer, Jack. We're going. Let's see here. Here's your emblem. Okay.
I already did it too, and I
Jack,
You weren't here last year, but what? You weren't at the banquet.
yeah.
Did you get a letter in any other sport?
I'm not very good at pride.
You didn't get a letter in wrestling? I'm gonna go back to the school, and we're gonna have a discussion with the school, and the truth will come out.
I don't think I've got a letter yet.
I will, I think we'll, you two have a letter, don't you?
I don't. I promise I don't, but
Thought we forgot to go to the
Frank may
banquet.
still have his and players from last year.
We'll go back, I'll be at the school tomorrow, I'll talk to them,
Sounds good.
we'll find out what's going on here. Okay, so Jack's,
I did go on this 'cause I knew it could be
so Jack played last year, and he shot at Centennial. He played at Centennial, and he had a round of 125 at Centennial, and I think that was your best round at Centennial last year. Is that correct? So his goal coming into this year was to play bogey golf, and he wanted to hit his driver 250 yards. So on March 18th, we go to Centennial for the first tournament of the year, and Jack shoots a 116. So he's already bettered his score from Centennial last year by 9 strokes. Then we come out in practice, and he shoots a 95 in practice. We go to Burns, he shoots a 98. We go to Running Wine, he shoots a 107 and a 101. And during all this period, he's hit his driver well over 250 a couple of times. And in fact, I'm not too sure you haven't hit your 3-wood over 250 a few times this year. Is that correct? So we get to Salmon Run, and he shoots a 98. And that 98 was a pretty solid round for Jack. Maybe one of the few that actually went over there and shot close to what one would have expected. We turn around 2 days later, go to Centennial, and he shoots a 97. So his 116 in March is now a 97 in the late April. So things are looking pretty good, and I'm getting pretty excited. Then we go to Tokatee for pre-districts, and he comes back in with this 116, and I'm sitting there, how did you do that?
still get to be
Well, yeah, it is. But we come back to districts, and he shoots a 100 on Monday and shoots a 99 on Tuesday, and so all is forgiven. His average score for the year is a 103.5, and that's from a guy who shot 125 last year to be 103. If Reese hadn't gotten most improved, you would have, because you were right there, 20 some strokes, and I honestly believe that you're a mid to low 80s score. I honestly believe you can get there if you just play golf. I know that it's tough for you in the summertime, but if you just play golf 1 or 2 times this summer, you know, pull the clubs out occasionally and get a round or 2 in, and then come into it next spring like you did this year, I think we can get you down in the mid 80s. I really do. Anyway, I appreciate the effort.
Thank you.
By the way, before I get to the last, before I get to the last person, I did a really crappy job this year in taking pictures.
Yeah.
I went through my file and I get all said and done, and I don't have any pictures of Deckers, but then that didn't bother me too much because Dan had his camera at Salmon Run, and he was taking pictures of everything over there. So hopefully you got some pictures of the boys.
I don't take pictures with you.
Okay. Well, I should have. Anyway, I did have a picture of Jack. I do have a picture of Reese. I do have a picture of Mark. I do have a picture of Playo, and you owe me for this picture, buddy.
Oh.
Because you know what happened on that picture?
No. We saw that.
That's hole number 2. Tee box number 2.
You missed the ball.
You missed the ball. if I hadn't dropped the bottom out, the ball is still sitting on the tee.
I didn't do that.
Jack,
All right.
this is your picture.
Looks good though.
I've got some pictures
Jack
to
is
Brian.
That's
Wow.
crappy.
I like
So,
rocket.
last person, Tate Lytle.
Did I get a picture?
Oh, yeah, but it's at home. You always come, you know, before every trip this year, I took the time to type out instructions of what time to be at the bus, where we were going to meet, what to bring, you know, food, water, money, meals. Sometimes I would tell them where we're staying or what we're doing. So, lo and behold, I give them out to everybody, including Derek. And of course, Derek watches us, so well, I don't need it. And so, here we are, ready to go to districts. We're leaving at 9 o'clock, and it is 9:01, and we're missing one player. And he says, well, I thought we were leaving at 9:30. I said, did you read the note? Well, you're not the only one that didn't read the note this year, because I know that some of the other guys didn't read the notes, because I picked up notes out at the golf course after I'd handed them out and never got home with the kids. So I know good and well that some of the rest of them didn't read the notes. So, anyway, Tate, for being late, was nominated to clean the car when we returned. And I do believe he must have enlisted some help, because he had a couple of the freshmen maybe helping him clean the car also.
Didn't do a good job.
As they well should have.
It's their duty.
Yes. So anyway, Tate letters this year. Here's your little emblem that goes with it. You also get a Scholar Athlete Award. And you get the Most Valuable Player for our team award.
I feel like Flail should have
I felt like he was the glue to our foundation. He
Yeah.
held us all together.
Well, obviously there was some glue probably involved somewhere along the line on some of these trips. And Tate also qualified second team all district. And then last person. So, Tate, your best rounds last year, if I remember correctly, you shot a 79 at Centennial and a 77 at Burns. Does that sound right?
Pretty close, yeah.
Your goal this year was to make state, and I asked you what you thought it would take to do that. You told me 73, 73. That's what you told me. So, at districts, you know, Tate didn't make it to state. He shot a 79, 77. He shot a 156. It ended up being that 151 was fifth place, and I know that Tate was bitterly disappointed in not making it to state. But I think it's going to make you a little hungrier next year, I hope. Because you're just as good. You're just as good as any of those guys that you play with. They just get hot at times. And I think if we look back at your scores, your opening 9 on Monday, you shot a 41. And that was probably your downfall.
Stick straight.
Yeah, I mean that was your downfall. After that, you played the same quality of golf that everybody else on that course played. So, you know, we just keep working at it this year and the rest of the summer and next year, and we're going to get you there. I want to get the whole team. So, anyway, so we started off the year. Tate started off really good. He started out in March at Centennial. He shot a 76. We went to Burns. He shot a 74. We went to Running Y twice, and he shoots 78, 78. And I guess that you were maybe just a little disappointed with those 78s, especially the second one. After you shoot it the first time, you go back 2 days later, you're hoping to shoot a little better. We go to Salmon Run, and Tate shoots an 86. And that was a 47-39 or 48-38. So, and what's really disappointing about that is he went and played 9 holes the night before, and what did you shoot? 40? 39 or 40 the night before on the front nine, and he goes out and shoots a 47 the next day, and
I beat him on the front nine.
oh,
Anybody was wondering.
well, it was the only time all year he did. So I'm sure that he was somewhat disappointed in that. And then the wheels kind of came off a little bit. We went back to Centennial and he shot an 82. And then we went to Tokati the first time, he shoots an 85. And I think you got a dry spell there, where things just kind of went south for a while. And you went back and saw your coach and you worked on some things. So we come back to Tokati for districts and he shoots a 79 and a 77. And that 79 probably could have been a 77 also, or maybe even a 76. Yeah, it could have been quite a bit better. It's really a shame that we're in the district that we're in, because if we were in any other district, he'd have been at state. And his average round for the year is 79. That's pretty good golf. It's just not quite good enough for our district. But I suspect that number is going to be quite a bit closer to the low 70s next year.
Yes.
Can I
Yes.
interject something
Yes.
in regards to that?
Yes.
I want you to remember, and everybody sitting over there and back there, you guys have a disadvantage within the district because of our season here. You don't get to play golf year round. And so you're coming out at the beginning of the season and just getting started, and all these other kids have been playing year round. So where you guys stand within the district and how well you did is amazing, considering that disadvantage of not being able to practice.
And I'll take that one step further in the fact that we don't even have a quality golf course to practice on. We don't have a driving range that you can hit driver on. We go out on the course and we hit driver off a tee box, and about halfway through the season, they take it away from us because the course is so dry, we're tearing it up, and so they're trying to protect the course. So then we're allowed to hit driver once off a tee box.
And they go from the greens here that are plugged and sanded,
Sanded.
into their first tournament at Centennial that are slick, fast greens.
So,
So
you
put it
know,
all
we
in perspective.
do really well, I think. And I think we're going to do better next year. I'm thinking about it. We're going to have, I hope, a few extra tournaments next year. I know most of the coaches now and the tournaments that are available. We're going to also probably hold 1 or 2 practice sessions out of town, which I know is going to put a little bit of a bite on some of the parents, because golf is not a cheap sport. It's expensive. It's expensive to play. But if we can get the kids over for a couple of practice rounds on a couple of Saturdays before we get into tournament time, to where they can play on the faster greens and be able to hit in the driving ranges, I think it will help us as a team next year. So anyway, thank you very much. So I have just one last thing. You know, I quit as the golf coach here a week and a half ago because I got mad at Jerry. I walked off the course because it just pained me to watch him contribute golf balls to the pond over there. But then I was asked to reconsider. Yes, Nate. And so I am planning to coach next year, and Dan and Jennifer are planning to assist me next year, and I do realize that they have other obligations, but it was just so key for me to have them the first 5 weeks of practice, because they know more about golf than I do, and having them be able to work on fundamentals with boys was just extremely helpful. Once we get into playing the tournaments and stuff, we don't have as much practice time. Then it wasn't quite as critical, although it would be nice to have been able to critique where we were at a little bit. But still, I appreciate your help. I could not have done it by myself. We would not be where we got to without you guys. One last thing. Because, and I know this is always a touchy subject, but we're gonna talk money just a little bit before I quit talking. We came into the year with about $1,500 in the fund, primarily because Tate and Derek, mostly Tate, somewhat Derek, sold some signs and did some 50-50 drawings during golf tournaments last year. And so we had a little bit of a balance to start with. All the parents chipped in $100 per kid to play, and we had the fundraiser of the car wash for a little over $500. So we ended up with a little over $3,000 in our fund for this year. Because of where we're at, we lucked out in one respect. We were able to use the school's vehicles on almost every trip, and so they paid the fuel cost of us taking the school vehicle. If we'd had to take private vehicles, then the club would have had to pay for those. So we lucked out in that respect. However, because of where we have to go to and what it takes to go to these tournaments, we ended up with 3 or 4 nights in a motel along the way, which seriously affects the budget. So we have spent approximately $2,200 to $2,300 of that $3,000 this year. So I haven't added up the final total yet, but we're probably going to have a carryover of somewhere between $500 and $700 going into the end of the season here. I do know that the opportunity exists for us to do 50-50 drawings again, and to probably be able to sell whole sponsorships for the tournaments that are at the golf course this year. I would like to hope that it won't be just Tate and Derek, that all the rest of you guys that plan on playing next year will get involved in that. We'll probably try to do some other additional fundraiser over the course of the summer maybe, because I think it's going to cost us $4,000 to do what we want to do next year. I know the kids want golf bags, and they wanted golf bags this year. Golf bags are about, if we get 8 of them, they're going to run us for probably $1,300 to $1,400. Plus, if we add 2 or 3 tournaments to the schedule, that's going to kick us up in that $4,000 range. So, you know, we either get it through fundraisers or parents, or or we don't do some of it. And so, you guys, when Tate and Derek give you guys a call, we're having a fundraiser. If you're planning to play golf next year, you need to try to come and help make it happen. Okay? I appreciate all the parents, because I know how much it costs to dish out money for golf balls, tees, for meals, because you have to buy all the meals and their snacks, and it's not cheap. It's not cheap. It costs a lot of money, and I thank you all for participation that you had in this. So thank you very much.
Coach Brian. Thanks, Coach Brian.
Thanks, Coach
Thank
Brian.
you.
So you've done such a great job this
Oh,
year. It's been
so-
so much fun being able to assist you. You took it way beyond what I thought was even possible as far as growing these boys, mentoring them, teaching them sportsmanship, course management, setting goals, everything that you've done with them. You've been fantastic this year. And so there's just a little thank you from the team.
And Brian, we also have,
Oh,
yeah, you got it?
this is for Jennifer.
Yeah, that's for Jennifer and
Oh,
Dan.
okay.
Yeah. The parents got together and got a little something for you because we appreciate how much time
Oh,
you spent with the kids. It was a lot of time, and for you too, Brian, that's from all the kids and parents. Thank you for your help.
Thanks,
So, does anybody have anything they'd like to say?
One more thing.
Yes.
June, thank you for hosting this
Oh,
year.
yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
Please, Aaron.
We tried not to make too big a mess. However, I understand that some of the boys will be more than happy to stay after and help clean up.
Freshman.
But Derek will be in charge of the freshmen, so they'll be here.
Jack wants to stay.
So, do any of you guys have anything you want to say? You're not involved here. We're not doing track. Any of you guys have anything you want to say?
Thank
Do
you,
you-
Coach Brian.
Thanks, Coach Brian.
Do you guys agree with my assessment that we have a chance of being a number 3 team next year?
Yeah.
Take it here.
Whoa.
I think we're going to be good. I really do. Thank you for coming.
Bye.
Jack, I will talk to the schools.